Welcome back. Now, the revelations that superstar golfer Tiger Woods was a serial marriage cheater shocked the world a few years ago, but news that he could be about to remarry his ex-wife, Erin Nordegren, has arguably been met with even more surprise. It's claimed, though, that any remarriage would include a whopping £230 million anti-cheating clause, meaning that Tiger would have to stump up big time if he ever got up to his old tricks again. So can relationships survive infidelity, or is it a case of once a cheater, always a cheater? Here to discuss, please welcome Lady Detective Rebecca Jane, Sociology Professor Eric Anderson and divorce lawyer Vanessa Lloyd-Black. Vanessa, do prenups work? What's their record?
Prenups do work, but what's so very strange about this one is that it's being said or alleged that he is going to pay $350 million, some reports say.
That'll be dollars, I think, won't it?
$350 million if he cheats. It's called a cheating clause. Now, in American prenups, this is very common. We saw it apparently in most of the drafts of the prenup that was done for Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. She insisted that such a clause went in, and they are binding in America. I know you're American. But we are not quite as crazy over here, and we will not allow them. You cannot put that kind of clause in a prenup.
So we don't allow prenups in this country?
We allow prenups, but not those kind of clauses that have cheating clauses in them. So, in other words, if you have a bit of infidelity, you don't pay out millions of pounds for having done so here. But
we're more forgiving, in other words.
We are more forgiving, but we do have prenups here, and quite a lot of wealthy people have them to protect their assets before they go into marriage.
So that kind of prenup, you know, you're not going to get it right, you can have those.
That's fabulous, but not the kind of naughty clauses that we have from America.
Eric, an American, you see, I mean, how do you sit on these clauses?
Well, Alan, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you, an honorary professor from my university.
Winchester.
University of Winchester,
I'm honorary doctor, yes. I'm not quite made professor yet, but it's very nice to be saying.
Well, I don't really have much to say about the prenups because that's not my area of expertise. What I look at is why do men and women cheat in their relationships? How common is that, and how logical and rational is that cheating? And the answer to all of those is it's very common for both men and women, it's very logical, and it's very rational. And I'd be glad to tell you why, if you're interested.
Well, you say it's logical, it's rational. It's logical from a man's point of view, I guess. A woman might not consider it to be logical, but carry on, tell us.
Well, for example, I'm looking at undergraduates. I find that 78% of young undergraduate men have cheated on their current girlfriend. Not ever cheated, cheated on their current girlfriend or boyfriend. I'm finding 81% of undergraduate women have cheated on their current boyfriends or girlfriends.
Well, that's interesting.
And amongst older people, we've known for years, since the 1940s, that 25% of men at minimum cheat. I'm sorry, 25% of women cheat, 50% of men. I'm doing research on why middle-aged women cheat now, and I'm finding not only are there 13 million of them on ashleymadison.com, but I'm finding that they're cheating because they not only want the sex, unlike men. Men cheat for sex.
But women cheat because they're bored?
Women cheat because they're bored. Not necessarily in the relationship. Not necessarily bored with their partners. They still love their partners, but they want someone else to confide in. They want a sex buddy, where men just want sex with many people.
Well, fine. I'm not commenting on that at all. Mainly because wife will be watching. Now, Rebecca, now you run you do run a ladies' detective agency. Let's establish, first of all, why you set it up.
I set it up basically because my former partner was unfaithful to me. And I realised that there was a gap in the market in the investigation industry for an affordable and understanding company to turn to when you're in one of those positions.
The gap being because most of the others were men and most of it was very expensive, is that the idea? Or?
Pretty much, yeah, but most of all because they didn't really care. They were very calculated. Like, we set up because we care about our clients and we want to help them, whereas it really was purely just a business front and let's see how much money we can make out of these people. So we set up really because we cared. So people come to you, they want to find out if their other half is cheating. And is it women who come to you? It's strictly women who come to you, is it? No, it's women and men. It's pretty much 50-50, so women cheat just as much as men.
Well, that's interesting.
Eric.
I'm the one who's saying that.
But you say, Eric, that you know, women shouldn't expect fidelity, don't you?
Nor should men. Yes.
So monogamy is just not realistic on any
Monogamy never has been realistic. It is a contemporary norm. It isn't the historical norm. And she should hope it's not realistic because it keeps her in business.
I love the fairy tale.
The fairy tale is this. Man will meet woman, they'll have sex together for the rest of their life. That sex will never die. It'll be more creative and dynamic every year.
You are assuming, therefore, that all couples... You're assuming that all couples only stay together for sex. Nothing else.
That's what I said.
Just the opposite. What I'm assuming is couples stay together because they love each other. In fact, Rebecca will tell you that only 10% of her clients, when they find out that their partner is cheating, divorce. Because couples today stay together if they love each other. Sometimes they have financial investments and whatnot.
Excuse me, they stay together sometimes because it's too expensive to live apart.
Well, that's true too.
Which is another reason, but I think you're right.
Yes.
I should be the most cynical person in the world, but I have to say there are people that stay together, that love each other, that have wonderful sex right into their 70s. So I don't think you can say that applies everywhere.
And they are,
but one thing I do agree is when I did some research for a book, 75% of men were cheating when I did the research across thousands of people. Unfortunately, it is a fact of life. But I think that the younger people, from my experience, are trying to change that. I'm completely the opposite
well, I have
to you.
the data on that.
Completely opposite.
The research you've done was on undergrads. How old were they?
These are 18 to 22-year-old men.
Precisely.
Well, precisely the point.
No. I'm talking about people who marry in their 20s.
What I'm showing is this. It used to be that an older couple, they were not allowed to have sex until marriage. When they had sex, they didn't have pornography to show them all the different ways you can do sex. 16-year-old boys today have had lots of sex. They've seen every sexual act you can possibly imagine on the internet or on their smartphones. And what I show is this. Today's youth cheat at greater degrees than youth did when you were young.
Rebecca,
so what's going to happen when they're
We get rid of the pornography, is that what we do?
Let's find out from Rebecca. What have you learned through running your agency? What surprised you about your work?
First of all, is how much people do want to stay together, and a lot of people do believe in the fairy tale. I believe in it. I had a former husband who was unfaithful I don't know how many times. I am now very, very happily married, and I see a heartbreak day in, day out. And I totally believe that the problem is with all this cheating, and I've got to take your research with a pinch of salt because they were so young. And I think that you only learn these kind of things when you do start to grow up and get older, and you learn from your experiences. That these people that you're talking to just are with the wrong person. And I think that it's about the right
problem.
person.
Here's the problem. You have been with your partner for 20, 30 years. You have kids together. No, not you. You're not old enough. You're not old enough to speak with experience. What I'm saying is this. You have been with your partner.
I say, ladies and gentlemen, this is turning into Jeremy Kyle. Let's put this to the audience. If you think relationships can survive infidelity, say I do. Wait a minute. And if you think they can't survive infidelity, say I don't. So if you can think they can survive infidelity, say I do. I do. If you think they can't survive infidelity, say I don't. I don't. Even Stevens, I think. Fascinating.
Isn't that fascinating, though? Because it wasn't too long ago in which infidelity was absolutely grounds for divorce.
University. Fascinating debate. Thank my panel, Professor Eric Anderson, Rebecca Jane, Vanessa Lloyd-Black. Thank you.